in future, if this happens again, production, we're doing cardboard cutouts. And that's been decreed now, so it has to happen. Okay, Vitality and Cowana. The very last game of the season. An honor to get to cast it after what has been a very fun and electric season. And these are two teams, obviously, that sort of had surprising runs and finishes, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, and well, Cowana, of course, in the first season will be able to finish third place straight away. You can say that's a very good.
Oh no!
Oh, poor Cowana.
It wasn't even them this time.
We get the Fs, please. I think it is very. It wasn't even them, indeed. But yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna continue the story. I'm gonna pretend like this never happened, and we'll come back to it as soon as we see him looking sad into the camera again. But yeah, Cowana, first season, instantly able to make third place. It is an incredible performance from them. And on the other hand, we had Vitality, who were on a rise. The opportunity to make top 4, but dropped the ball quite a bit. Now they are fighting to make sure that they will not be ending in 8th place. Like that is on the line here for that team. They have the opportunity to overtake, train hard. They just need a single point. That's all they need. So just 6 rounds, and they will be finding themselves in the 7th place, just getting a little bit more of those SI points and a little bit more of the cash prize that is still there. So as we get in, it's Master Bedroom Office, the first site to be taken. And then the question is, because we heard the desk talk about it just a little bit before, what will the extension look like? And how heavy are they going to be trying to put a hold onto Piano? Because that is very often the first point of ingress of many of these attackers.
I think those stats were so interesting, which is rare for me to say that to you. To admit that stats can be super
another day at the office for me.
I know, we're like, wow, stats. In the Snow is seen so much play, yet is so lackluster for defenders. 21 and 22% wasn't the split. 1 in NA, 1 in APAC in terms of success rate of a site that still picked a fair bit. And I guess it's always, you start to dig in and you kind of want to ask teams that are still in their own way developing their holes and being like, what is it about this site that's causing so much more problems in terms of setting something up consistently compared to the others?
I think it has a lot to do with the current meta, right? We've been talking about it. Sites that really allow like an onion-like defense where you peel off layer for layer by the attack are sites that do relatively well. What we've seen, for example, CCTV Cache, that site is relatively easy to hit. You just open up the east wall and you're instantly inside. Those have dropped a little bit in win rate over this course of this meta. And I think, for example, the Snowmobile is exactly the same. There is little to no opportunity to really extend out. And there is a lot of walls that grant a lot of sidelines for the attackers if they open it up. So that is why I think these sites work better on the defense, just because you can set up that onion ring all around it.
Now, Vitality, they have a lot to play for and a lot to make up for over the past couple of performances that haven't quite been as good as them when they were seemingly getting better and better towards their best. But there's still a huge amount of potential. P4 is able to get the opener. Sloth dropped. Usually there's an impact frag, and the entry is either his way or against, and it starts against today. And if you're a Cowana fan, you're hoping that's not the sign of bad times, but he's been able to bounce back before. But look how deep P4 is going here. He's able to make sure he's droned in and let in across the top of the mezzanine towards Piano across that big angle, hoping another Cowana player swings and goes for a head. But for now, it's just setting up the rest of the hold and the rest of the attribution across the side.
Important to notice that there's 2 shields they need to deal with, one inside the Piano and one inside of the office. And surely the Gun 6 will be used to that. That is going to be making the position, I believe, of Kendrew a little bit more. Well, oh, actually, no, he got caught off and ADS managed to get in. Now the actual destruction from below not hitting either. However, they did take down the Electro Claw, and that means they can go for the breach. So that shield is not really a threat anymore in this case.
Now, as they start to open up across the box and try and get something with the Gemini over the top, they can't quite dig in for the correct angle as of yet. It's peering and peeking and hoping and waiting for somebody to drift a little bit closer, a little bit in line. And with only 30 seconds, there's only so long that they can set themselves up for here. It's a bit of a spray around the corner and a body's dropped. Rise gets one. Kenny dug in, is able to lock off one more. They'll give the game away as to where he is, so he pre-fires towards the side of the box, dropped before he can pop the C4. Now it just beeps with only 12 seconds left. They just have to try and get an angle on. It's a 4 versus nobody. Gorgona couldn't quite get it up the back stairs, and Vitality find their first.
Like a very slow take coming down there. Had a lot of control, but they were waiting. They were playing carefully, patiently. And at the moment they managed to get these picks underway, it all accelerated quite quickly. They took Piano, they took the office, managed to take down Cade right before the explosion happened with that nitro cell. Plans could come down as a result of that, and well, if you're then the last man standing coming in on a flank, it's going to be very difficult for you to try and get that retake underway. Best way still, of course, is to try and stall out the diffuser up until the very last second to potentially get that kill, but the shield was still up, mind you. So even if he would be able to sneak all the way up, the plant would be safe right behind that shield. So he would have to sneak in all the way to the mezzanines and get the shot from the back. But there was, of course, that one player waiting there, so that was never going to happen. So, right now, Vitality win round number 1. That is on the attack, and they decide, let's bring the exact same lineup. Why change if it works so well? Cowana, they are going to be running the same site as well, and we're going to see the Electroclaws being tossed in yet again, but this time I believe Kendra is not putting that much effort into it, because a single grenade from the bottom instantly denied it. So this time we'll be digging it up a little bit more upwards towards the ceiling, which of course makes it so they actually have to shoot it rather than just make it explode with a breaching charge.
We did see, obviously, Vitality set themselves up for what was a late play plant and take there. Obviously, they pushed themselves across and cleared steadily towards box, was able to get the second on the push on Piano, but Grizzly, well, he's getting the first on the entrance there. Not sure if that was a missed drone or they just tried to go in aggro, but Grizzly takes the opener this time round, and Bibu, who had the same mantle previously, is popped off. P4 couldn't quite get in, and said it's actually P4, but it was Bibu's camera at the time. That's why I'm mistaking that. But either way, the mistake has been made. Bibu is gone. They lose all of that, Zofia. They lose a huge player, and P4, he's the man who was able to lean in perfectly before, and he digs across. The same ping as before, but the concern now is the body that was previously underneath.
Just hoping that he's going to be able to pick up a kill, but look at the picks. Oh, Pika Sloth picks up one. For the second there, he's going to try and go for that kill, but P4 too quick will be able to shut him down, and that is going to be bringing it back to a 3 and 4 situation. Still a man advantage here for Cowana, and that make that 2 as Grizzly will be able to pick up P4 from the bar, as some drones will be taken out right ahead of him as well, and Vitality suddenly find themselves in a 2-man disadvantage. And what do you do in this case? There is about 1 minute 40 left on that clock. You barely have any control, and Gorgona still downstairs will be almost taken out by the grenade. Returns a bit of fire, but stays put and stays, well, aware of the fact that he might be pushed from the fireplace door.
He's just kind of trying to find some aggression underneath, and Rise and Shinker are seeing if they can isolate a single player here. They've been able to get onto the mezzanine walkway, and they're just slow clearing every possible angle and beat. There's always the concern that someone might pop up around and beneath you. They still have a drone apiece. They can reset them up on the stairs if they need a teammate to watch, but with only a minute, they've still got a lot of work left to do, and a slow creep round the side of the library hallway towards box to see if anybody's behind the shield, but nobody was baited there. That time, Gorgona is the one that steps in to pick up the mantle to see if he can shoulder over the top. There's one of the drones I talked about before, and well, there it goes round and round, but it doesn't stop.
We're going to find out where the actual the Electroclaw is located. Not that they will be having the opportunity to go for the breach, but won't be able to do anything about it. Actually, one shot of the MK14 seemingly hitting Kenny right there, as we're taken down by him instead. And while it's only up to Shinka now, the man is down on about 5 HP. Smoke canisters are popped and find himself on the balcony now. Will pick up one for the effort. Doesn't have the diffuser, doesn't have the control nor the time. It's 10 seconds left and will be jumping into his death. Grizzly picks up the final kill. Cowana will return the favor. Pick it up to 1-1. Win their defensive round. Make sure that this stays tight for at least for now.
Well, they stepped back in. It was an important one to take, as we've seen from them as a team sometimes. If things start to get away from them, they get a bit bogged down in the game itself and can get a little bit muddy, whereas Vitality on the other side of that, if they get a couple of rounds, if they thread themselves a story, they turn it into a bit of a novel about how great they can be. Kitchen dining is where we're going to head to next. Obviously, we talked about at the beginning, you will probably see snow, but it probably won't be as common as you think it might be. If you're new to watching Chalet, it hasn't been the best and most successful site in the modern comp pool, in the modern comp game, across all of the regions. And this is only the second time we've seen it in EU, but we do pull from the other pools now and again.
Sometimes you have to bring in statistics and data from other regions if there is a lack of it.
I call up Canadian Hat. I say, Jesse, got any the goods for me?
Gotta do some filling up of the databases of the data pools.
Yeah, call up Dev from Apex
Get the
South.
spreadsheets of Apex South.
Dev is obviously the numbers guy of Apex South, but you do look like the other forecasters.
I do look like the other forecasters, do I?
You could be like their little brother.
At least, well, I don't speak with the same accent. I can only say day.
If you were about to say I don't speak Australian, I would have had a couple of questions. But
I was going to say do not speak with the same accent, or I was going to say, but I'm having a Dutch accent, but it's not really that.
They speak
Dutch,
English
I would
on the
say.
podcast.
They do speak English, yeah, luckily.
Yeah, but with very cool accents. I have a dog.
I can only say good day. That's it. That's as far as I would come.
Well,
so that will be a very
honestly,
limited
with
cast
how much fun the Apex South guys have on broadcast, they'll accept you and love you, and P4 accepted and loved Killing as he takes care of Anarchic. Smoke gone in the opening 30 seconds. That's a lot of utility off the board very early, and they are instantly swanning pressure on. Bibu has dug himself inside the site, and within the opening 30 seconds, they found their way in, and they're trying to piece together, well, what can we do now? We dug in. We went aggro. Kenny might not know that he's just on the left, and he does not. Bibu has gone deeper. There is a pickup and there is a cover as Gorgona is desperately trying to knock in some holes from above. See if he can find somebody. Saw the legs but didn't quite get the clean shot he wanted. There's still Bibu down inside and in sight as Grizzly is working on getting some cover from the opposite side. They're aware and they see his legs, and well, that didn't finish him off for some reason, but the cover from the opposite side is the big concern. 1 minute 45 hits P4 for a little bit of dangerous damage from the opposite side, but we can see them heading up towards Gorgona. They know they have the numbers advantage, utility, and all the time in the world. If previously, the 2 rounds, they were a bit too slow here of Vitality, they blinked and they were on.
I was going to say, they suddenly were on the side in the middle of it, and Vitality didn't really use that information or the pressure they had too much. No, instead, they're sitting back and they're going to be playing this like they shoot. They're going to use their advantage. They're going to try and get the information out, and they're going to try and put pressure from various different angles. You already see 2 people down in the basement. They will be coming up from the west main stairs and will be putting down some damage and pressure down onto the cake that you see right there. Grizzly taken out, and Cactus with the final kill actually coming in from the normal hallway that we saw the Zofia pushing through before. And it's a very quick round coming down here from Vitality, where they take some quick control, manage to get some frags early on, and then they play it out very calm and collected. And I think that is a very strong suit. You don't have to suddenly rush everything as soon as you're on the site. No, just try and get the biggest advantage you can and then play it out as you normally would.
They saw an advantage and they took it, and I think they took all of us a little bit by surprise. Too busy doing a cutaway, but as soon as we saw a body drop and all eyes were inside the site, so were they. So they snuck by pretty much everyone, including, most importantly, their opponents, and that allowed Bibu to be able to get that second. I don't think they expected them to go that hard, that deep, that fast. It's Vitality. They're full of surprises this time round. It's new, it's reinvigorated, and still battling for that place in 7th rather than 8th. Setting themselves up, they're doubling down on the kitchen site yet again, and you assume 2 things. 1, Coana's going to have a little bit more concern, and 2, Vitality, they're probably not going to try the same thing again.
They put the electrical on the bottom floor, actually. You saw the cave dropping down through the hatch, I believe, and drop down the electrical on the southern wall, that is. So you see it being electrified. I think that is actually in the basement. So if they want to hunt it down, they need to go through Wine. And I believe a drone might have just spotted it right there. So they might be aware. I'm trying to find it. I'm pretty sure he tossed it beneath, but watch me curse it. I can't find it, but who knows. Anyway, round and away. We saw a back it down or double down from Cowana the last time around. Back then it was successful. That was, of course, in that top floor, the master bedroom. And I'm going to try the exact same thing now. You see Grizzly waiting to see if Bibu is going to be jumping into that window yet once again, putting up some pressure. Not going to be the case. There it is. It's the electric car gone. P4 did manage to find it. It was indeed dropped from underneath, making sure that that wall would remain closed. And P4 now has that wine cellar control. And the question is he going to wait here? Is he just going to try and see whether or not he is going to be pushed by any of the Cowana players? There is at least someone inside of Snowmobile there. Are they aware? Grizzly is holding the angle down onto the connector, gets the spot, and gets the kill. P4 will fall. It's going to be the Ash gone, but the electric bar already deployed, however.
Grizzly was the MVP of the previous day's game that got Cowana such a solid place, and here he is instantly stepping up again, able to really find some aggression back against the bodies of Vitality. They're putting some pace back down on their own boards here around the gaming room side. They're concerned for the rotation and where the players of Cowana might be, and obviously, as I said, it's not the same pace as before, but they still know the game they have to play. Unfortunately for them, they've already lost pretty much a minute and a half in doing it. Half the time left and still almost all of the work left to do.
There's a lot to do indeed. Vertical breach being made here, making sure they can actually breach into the office, making sure they can take care of the vertical pressure that is being applied by the likes of Cowana. Doesn't seem like they're falling back too desperately, though. Gorgona has a half wall and a shield to work with, together with, of course, a soft wall that is backed up with a Surya laser gate. So they're going to have to use a lot of utility if they want to get rid of that shield, or they're going to have to do it from below. Just look at the vertical angle that he's holding. It will be taking care of that breach. So as long as Gorgona is here, there's going to be no way that they will be walking in without being shut down from right above them. So Vitality will have to work hard now. They will have to take down these two players on that top floor. Otherwise, there is going to be no plant at all.
Well, that's a lot of drones and a lot of pressure, and a pre-fire comes around the corner. Shinka finds Sloth, and now they know Gorgona's a bit isolated. He gets aggro back. He tries to battle back, pops up, gets one, dropped by the other. Piano is where the lockdown has come as Rise pushes deeper and deeper, but we can see Cowana bodies are rotating up to cover the rotation back down on the solar stairs. They drop down to the site with only 20 seconds left. They're concerned now as they've lost their body that was inside itself. Big fights are happening all the way across, and Anarchic pops the canister to stop that slow approach. They're forcing him further back, though. He doesn't quite have the angle in the arms to get one onto the breached hold on the opposite side. Smoke canisters cover, but the pings come through. There's the C4 over the top. It doesn't quite catch anyone. It looks like it was shot out. So Anarchic is swinging around on the backside, dropped from behind, and doubled down. Rise pushed the momentum, and Vitality found something in success.
Finding the round right here, able to get the double kill on the back, and well, the red pinks were coming out. They knew exactly where the plant was happening, but the smoke canisters not able to hit the mark. And at that moment in time, you got to decide, do I go for the push or do I go for the retake? And well, they decided to go for the push together, but Rise from the back able to shut them both down. And now Wine Cellar Snowmobile will be played. And while Bar Gaming is often the other side you would maybe see, but the mirror is off the board, and that makes it a lot less viable, I would say. And Cowana is going to be trying their hand at Wine Cellar. And now I'm going to be coming back to the desk again. And I am going to be saying, all right, why is this side so bad for defenders? Because there's a 20% win rate in NAL. And I'm going to ask you, Flug, how would you branch out if you are a defender, and how would you layer the onion rings around this site? I don't see an opportunity to.
I know, and you're smart, and I'm not. No, it's tough. It's a tricky situation, and it can be a whole myriad of different reasons, but one of the lock-offs here on this site that isn't offered on the others that you've always got to consider is there's more hard walls that stop those long firefights, those long sight lines. You can set yourself up these angles on the top floor and the second one that go all the way from the bottom left corner all the way across to the top right hand side, and the same can be on the ground floor or the first floor. This is the only floor in sight where you can't do that. It's a lot of brickwork, it's a lot of heavy, which creates a lot of corners and a lot of problems. in these angles, and that's why they're doing these little extensions, but little doesn't offer too much from how these players like to play in this current meta. It can be very quickly taken over by teams that are offered pockets of safety and space, which you never really want attackers to have on the site of the floor. So that's why you see plays like this. They've softened up bits around library, and they've obviously got bodies down in trophy, and it's a bit of a stretch and a bit of an explore, but it's a lot of drones already in place from Vitality.
They do know exactly where Sloth is, so we'll surely be hunting him down soon. And quickly wanted to send. Look, you don't have to show it now, but like the trench that we just saw right there, it's a bit of a similar setup that what we normally would see in Elbow in Oregon. A couple of ADSs right behind the boiler, followed up with a shield just to make sure that you have the opportunity to play with the smoke canisters. However, it doesn't seem like Vitality is willing to push from that side. If you look at the current setup, they will probably go for a lot of top floor control. They're going to be opening up a lot of verticals, maybe put some pressure down onto blue in the main stairs and make sure they get the site like that, because that is what the current members are set up for. That's what the current bodies are aimed towards. And well, SP4 is descending these blue stairs. Surely he will be taking care of that shield as he goes. Be trying to put some pressure down on, I believe that is Grizzly that is playing right behind it, hoping to make sure that he's going to be able to get that entry frag, because it would be oh so important for this site. But shield will be lost, and I believe that actually might make sure that the summons don't blow up. No, they actually do blow up, so somehow the Electroclaw does not stick.
No, couldn't quite make it, and they have enough to pop it, but Rise also has Gorgona. It's Sloth that's looking for some revenge here, but Cactus has an Arctic in the same time. He's got to act now, and he's able to drop one, almost gets the second, but doesn't confirm the kill, and that's a monumental blow with Cactus getting one more. It's only Gendry. Vitality has torn this Cowana defense into pieces, and they still have time to drone for more. There's a spot, there's a firefight, there's a flawless, and there's a bit of kind of frustration on the eyes of Kendry there.
Bit of frustration indeed. Tried to go for the gunfight, missed the shots on the IQ right around the little pillar that is holding up the staircase. We're gonna get a tactical timeout, and you can only imagine what team would have called it. Must be Cowana, by the way that things are currently going. And it is not going well. They are 4-1 behind. They lost basically every single site, and well, luckily that means they can go to every single site as we speak. And now they're going to be trying to find out which one is the best to go at. I think we just portrayed and showed why it's probably not going to be Snowmobile again.
No, it's been very good from Vitality today. I think they know that the weight of the game is on. They want to end the season on a win from what has been a bit turbulent from then. Cowana, obviously, they've got this top 4 lock in, but they're always pushing. They're always wanting to solidify their place and positioning here, and it just seems like they haven't been able to get a handle on what Vitality is doing, which is very intricate. It's very locked in. They're reading perfectly into how Cowana are playing some of these holds and going for opportunity. It's something that they don't really have any prep on in terms of VODs of performance, because it's the second time we've seen the map. So it's a lot of learning on the spot, and unfortunately Cowana just haven't been able to, I guess, fully road test some of the holds and some of the defenses that against Vitality, they're not quite hitting the control that they usually like to have over these gunfights.
No, of course not. And you might have to say it, and I know a lot, it's sometimes controversial, but Cowana will not be rising or descending in the scoreboard, in the table at the end of the day, whether they win or lose here. Vitality have a lot more to play for, so the motivation of Vitality to do well is a lot more right now than Cowana. Cowana have secured themselves the 3rd place. Yes, you can get 3 extra points. They might be useful at the end of the year when you're facing relegations or a potential spot in the finals. But you could also see it with Na'Vi, for example. It just winds down a little bit. Not everything is as sharp as it used to be, because you don't have to deliver at that moment in time. And I'm not saying that's the case, but it could just as well be the case why we're seeing Vitality suddenly coming back alive right here compared to what we've seen over the last 2 days against the Cowana, who have been putting up some massive results over this week so far.
Well, this was quick, this was pacey, and this was Vitality leaving a little bit better than before. P4, he's dug and crouch walk his way through. Gorgona is trying to offer some semblance of gunfight back, drops Bibu, and is able to take the cap and the head off the man. But look at this, they're stacking bodies up inside Solarium. Grizzly wants to rotate background as the pings come consistently. Yet again, Vitality went for a pacey approach. It wasn't as successful as it was before, but they still got the opener on Anarchic, who has twice suffered the bad end and the wrong end of the pacey push inside and towards the site.
2 minutes 4 left. We're going to be droned out right here. A lot of pressure coming down on him. One from the fireplace door. There's a couple of them inside Trophy now pushing through as well. And you can only imagine that one might be coming in from the blue side of the map if they have that pressure. It seems like they did rotate off, and Gorgona will be allowed to rotate back up. And with about 1 minute 40 left on the clock, Vitality seem to have given up on trying to hunt him down. It's a 4-on-4. They did take care of that smoke. It's a very important pick. They can now focus on actually trying to get control of the site and the hallways and alleys that lead to it, making sure that the breach, for example, can happen if they actually decide to go for that, because it does look like a Solarium take right now, which would be a bit more complicated with that electrical line located where it is. But of course, there is that IQ will be taking care of it from below, and that allows them to actually push on with the breach right now.
Well, P4 is looking for this aggressive swing now towards the doors on the opposite side. Obviously, they have eyes here on this bathroom. Nobody's able to hold it directly, and this allows P4 to pre-fire and sneak his way up. They're trading places as Rise steps up to the mantle of the firefight just on the door of the piano, but nobody has been caught as of yet as the pressure comes on the site. Rise pops the head off a Kendra and swings back towards more aggression on the other side. They have 50 seconds, and they have the man advantage yet again. You can see the bodies of Cowana are stacking themselves up to make sure that if anyone goes for a quick swing, they might be able to just hit them, but it's the sneak inside with the potential of planting now as Cactus drops himself down. They will all hear that as that echoes around. We've just seen a Cowana player drop off and go for a big rotate, but they couldn't get in time. Grizzly finds Shinker and shuts off the cover on the rotation, and that will free them up with only 40 seconds now ticking down quicker than ever. It's P4 that drops the door, and Cactus doubles down for a little bit more. Grizzly is the only player really that's been able to dig his claws in aggressively against Vitality so far. They know where he is, they know where he's coming from, and they know he has no other option but to push this staircase, and he is peppering for any advantage. But it's a situation that was very tough, too impossible now, and Vitality is making sure that their presence is known. Drops the one on the rotate round, but well, you're charging into two loads of bullets being sprayed towards you, and Cowana, they're down 5-1 on the half.
It's not looking good. It's bad. Of course, we did say Chalet attack side of map, but you do want to at least take, let's say, 2 or 3 rounds out on the defense if you want to set yourselves up. But then again, there's always 2 sides to a game of Siege, and we don't know whether or not Cowana is going to be able to turn it all the way around right now, or if Vitality is going to be closing it off. What we do know is that Vitality is going bar gaming, the one side we haven't seen yet today, and they're bringing the Frost as a little bit of standout pick. Is that a fuse? Okay. I'm interested to see how that gets played. We might see it being used on the piano windows with the new shrapnel system that could actually do a lot of damage down on billiards, or even on bar, depending on how you use it, because all the shrapnel pieces will go through the soft flooring. Or are they just going to try and take top 4 control and just send it straight down? Like, there's 2 ways to go at it. Wondering if they get to it, or if they will be losing the fuse before Grizzly even gets the opportunity to put it down.
Yes, it's one of the setups that we'll see as they reinforce their way across the top. Obviously, the curiosity now is on Vitality. What does their defense hold up here? What stretches are the extensions being made? And oh boy, is that fuse going to get used?
Imagine. What's the last time we've seen fuse? I think it was I think we're actually casting that game, and every time the fuse was being not used, managed to get a lot of kills. As soon as the cluster charge was being put down, instantly killed himself. So if that is going to be going on, doesn't seem like it, as the first set of clusters are going to be used, but will be shot out, meaning only one of the grenades got popped in, and the ADS did take care of that, and that means that that shield will stay there. Grizzly not having another opportunity now to make sure that that shield will be removed, and this will have to choose for a different approach to try and put those cluster charges to use.
Now then, as they set themselves, Sloth, with his eyes on the opposite side, breaks the way in via the bathroom. And if we're talking about Cowana players that have been able to have an impact, unfortunately, he's one of the ones that has severely struggled. But in fairness, most of the others haven't really fared much better against Vitality, that across the board, all guns have generally been firing very well. Still, they're looking to try and track down this Wamai. They have the eyes on the prize here, and he's doing all his best to burn any of this approach. P4 is very adept at gunning people down on these flicks moments, and you can see that he is the start of the push and the pressure and the presence that Cowana are trying to put down. The Wamai discs are steadily being eaten up there, but more are generated and thrown out. They know that this corner is the ankle hold, and he's just going to pull back just a little.
I do notice, though, because they still have that drone. You see P4 going on it every single time. So there could be any pressure coming down from either the office or K9 window, as you see right now. P4 up there. Spotted that head right there off Sloth. Not able to get the kill down, and actually might have just spotted out the drone as it looked into the plants and was like, was that a light that I just saw go on? We're able to get the kill on Sloth, though, and that does probably indicate that he did take care of that drone, and he did take care of the player that was trying to take him out.
Kendrew gets a response, as does Gorgona. Two important picks. They've finally been able to find some revenge and some momentum as he creeps in just by the bomb chassis, but BB's making his way up, and Arkic, in the meantime, is going to stick it as Grizzly gets one more. Just two Vitality players over the top. They can't quite find it, as they are quickly locked off there. Cowana struck when they needed to most. They lost that opener, but they made sure that all of the rest fell into their favor.
And this is the issue with this site. There was no one actually defending it from Bar, from Pentery, or whatever. And that makes it really hard to hold. Like, you can rely on a couple of these vertical angles, right? You can maybe stop one or two of the people running through. However, if you have no one down on the side to put some pressure down, it's like just opening the gates. Like, come in. Maybe we'll take down one of you. Maybe we won't take down one of you. We don't know. But they just given a free plant right there. All three players were running up on the library stairs. There's no real pressure coming down. Nothing is denying them from getting that plant down. And that is kind of the issue in that case. And that's why I said, if you don't have Mira, it's going to be really hard to play that side, because the Pentry suddenly is not as reliable as it otherwise would be. It's not as much of a bunker as it otherwise would be, and then you see they rely on different methods, and those methods are offsite, and if a team reads that well, they're going to be able to get that plan down quite quickly.
Okay, so now we go to what is seen as a lot of teams' first pick and play. The master bedroom has evolved itself into a site that offers a lot of stretch if you need it, but offers you a lot of rotation to cause problems to all the hatches, and those frost mats have found themselves exploring towards the blue set of stairs here, all three within a very tight canopy. And I guess, if they're not paying attention, obviously your eyes are pretty much drawn to the box and the potential swing on the door or piano. If you've not got somebody watching from the rafters side, they might strike? Question mark?
Might strike indeed, as P4 just holding. Sees that window opens and knows a bit of pressure from the library is going to be coming down. A little bit of help is there, as well as Rise. Finding himself in the library entrance, looking through the hatch, maybe trying to take care of some of the vertical play. And as he does that, the window actually gets shot open. He's wondering if there is a drone, and yes, indeed, there is, and he will be taken down from the blue stairs. Gorgona, not stepping into the frost mat, will be taking care of it as he now tries to put some pressure down onto the library. Be very big. He needs to get that kill if they want to push through.
Well, there's another frost mat that he's about to encounter in just a second, but P4 is the next to find a fight. Sloth, in the meantime, again, his Bad luck is continuing. He's dropped down and finished off by P4, who swings in, but Cowana gets Shinka trying to rotate up the back stairs. P4 looked like he's eyeing with the idea, and he does take it in the end. Wanted a bit of intel to make sure nobody was watching it before. Got it, and now dropped to safety for now. Bibu as well, underneath blue, is going for a huge rotation round the back of Cowana. He's just in this kind of setup, going to be taking one after one after one after one of this firefight. They might stack up twice. Grizzly takes a bit of damage going through a gate up top, and they're waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Cactus gets a double. The collateral stacks up. Down's the third as well. Grizzly gets dropped at the end, but Cactus, well, who needs anyone else on site?
Woo. Just that 9mm. 25 bullets in the magazine. Pretty slow rate of fire, but it's going to be enough if they line all up like that. You see the happiness on their faces. Cactus is also like, I don't know what happened, but I managed to get 3 kills by just holding left mouse button.
Honestly, you leave Cactus...
Probably just saw one.
Just leave Cactus on a site with a big gun and he seems to do work. Like, usually it's him and an Aldo.
Yeah.
Put him with the 9mm, leave him alone, and he just does what he needs to do.
You know what this means, by the way?
What does this mean, by the way?
Vitality secured 7th place. They only needed 1 point and they got it now. So, there's nothing more to be gained for them here, except, of course, for the honor of beating Cowana, who ended up in 3rd place, and maybe get that in a head-to-head for later stages, as of course that would still go across. So yeah, they did manage to secure themselves 7th place. That is a couple of SI points more than they would have gotten otherwise. So they can be proud of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where obviously I think it's a little bit bittersweet. They probably had higher expectations for themselves. They set high expectations, and there's a lot on them in terms of players. Obviously, the way this team came about is it was one of the ones that had big changes before the season started, and they also spent a lot of time juggling operators and seeing what they could make work. Yeah, it's just one of those right place, right time. 3 of them fall, and it's you can see the frustration on the Cowana cameras. It's those mistakes, those moments, you know, whether it was down to miscommunication, whether it was down to just having a bit of a kind of lapse in concentration. It happens, and unfortunately for Cowana, okay, I was about to say unfortunately for Cowana, it's happened on the last play day, but I guess in a way it's not the worst thing because of what they're able to pull off yesterday.
Yeah, exactly, right? And for them, again, there's not that much pressure on them. There's not that much to be gained. Yes, it's still points, and yes, they will still be important for the end of the year, but this stage being in the SI points, everything is already under control. They can fully focus on stage 2 now as Sloth spotting out 2 player at their feet right now with that drone in the doorway. Seems like they're very unaware and likes of Vitality, waiting for a teammate to go on potentially to give that ping. He's going to be going for the push as a result, and might have just waited a little bit too long now, as both now outside of reach, and will be rotating over to the bedroom. Sloth Dust deciding to probably go up from the mezzanines and try and clear the traditional way.
Well, frustrating day at the office. You're still 4 rounds away, which isn't, you know, impossible, but it's not easy, especially with how things have worked and fitted together for Vitality today. They're playing with a team that knows that they want those 3 points precious in their pocket here. Kendrew hops back over as box gets open to give themselves a little bit more of a deeper angle to the vertical hold. That's obviously pretty important to take out over the top of the site itself. Stacked up here on some further away side as they put their eyes across the gantry and the rafters to see if they can get anybody, but nobody's stacked up to catch anyone that goes for a big rotate on either the bedroom window or solarium. So they've got to take this as a pretty flat fight until somebody rotates, which, to be honest, it sounds like, no, they're just opening angles. It's the rotation underneath that is happening.
Just trying to put down a lot of pressure. The wall will be opened up, and that is going to be the bit of pressure that Cowana need to try and at least go towards the side. Just look at P4 hiding. The snowmobile, he has the opportunity to go for the flank of a lifetime right here to secure the win for Vitality. 3 members right now in front of that bridge. If he moves up the stairs at the exact right timing, he's going to be able to shoot all 3 members in the back of the head. Make sure that that plant will never happen, because it will be happening right behind the bomb chassis. There's no other place to do it, and P4 is in the perfect position to try and cancel it. And he's just patiently waiting. He doesn't need to push it. He just needs to wait for the call. Hey, they are coming in right now. But he does take down that drone, and that might actually alert them about the fact that the one could be there.
Well, it's BB that drops an R-kick, who I believe was watching this flank and the rotate as they dig in. There's the strike from the back. There is 10 seconds, and it's a 4 versus 2. 2 stories separated, and a cold diffuser with Kenny going down too. It's all down to Grizzly with only a sliver of health. No more Vitality. They clean up and get some French revenge, plus a Belgium, from what happened yesterday. They end their season. And I'm sure Milos is very curious to know what BB said in his camera, but they played very, very well today.
I have to ask Milos to do some lip reading there, try and find out what BB did or said. It would be fun, you know. He does speak French. Maybe he's going to get to ask them, or he will talk to Rise. It's going to be either because he turned down his headset. Man, they're very happy, Vitality that is, and they have the right to be, because they just closed out the season with a win, the stage that is, and will not be stuck at the 8th place. Instead, we'll be going down to 7th. Of course, they had the opportunity to go for the top 4 in the start of the Super Week. Didn't manage to get that. At least they did some damage control, and thus, here with a great win over Cowana, we'll end it.
Now, for one last time this season, as we have wrapped our final game, I have the pleasure to throw it over to Milos in the desk. Take it away.